They don't teach us about financial planning in school. I don't know why, but they don't. Because it's not, again, about how much you make that counts. It's about how much you keep. So ask yourself this question. How long have I worked? How much money have I made so far in my working career? And how much of that do I have left today? And are you happy with the answers? And the chances are you're not. So if you don't have a written financial plan, if you don't have any kind of a financial plan, written or otherwise, you're planning to fail by default. That's your plan. Imagine having a plan to fail financially. You know, keeping money is probably the most important objective that you should have during your lifetime. Because if you don't hang on to some of your hard-earned dollars, you're going to be broke for a lot of years. And you'll be wondering where the next meal comes from. You just listened to a show, a replay from a former show, which is about how much do we spend on groceries. And again, I'm sure there's many people out there. There's lots of people called that show. I listened to it on the way out here. Unfortunately, I was late getting here because there was an accident just out front. It took me about 20 minutes to get around the accident. But the bottom line is that that show was all about how much do I spend on groceries. And I had a lot of calls. And if you listen to that show, you'll find that the numbers are all over the place. Some people said $150 a month. Others said as much as $1,000 a month for groceries. So that tells me that the vast majority of people don't have the foggiest idea, the foggiest notion about how much they spend on just groceries. What about the money that you spend on transportation? What about the money that you spend on charity? What about the money you spend on the roof over your head? What about your travel expenses and your vacation expenses and all those other expenses? Peter Drucker once said, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So if you don't have a way of keeping track of your spending is out of control, and so is your finances. So a proper financial plan starts with a budget. So I'm sure many of you would like to talk directly to me, but you couldn't in the first hour that you listened to because that was a replay. This one is live. Okay, so here we have a live show. So if you listened to the first show and maybe that prompted a few questions, you can get the answer to those questions right now by making a phone call. I would suggest that you get a pencil and a pad and make some notes, because it's what you write down on that pad that is what you will retain from this show. And I'm teaching you what you need to know to make better financial decisions. So the number to call, write it down, is area code 604-280-0650. 0650 or 650 is the station's call letters. If you're calling long distance, it's 1-877-280-0650. Now you can log on. This is a webcast. www.cisl.650.com. And Frida's down at the office. You can reach Frida at area code 604-737-3512 if you're shy or reluctant to talk on the air. Or if you're calling long distance, it's 1-800-661-1495. Now my email is f.snyder@scotiamcleod.com. I represent Scotia McLeod. So again, I'm an independent financial advisor. I offer all kinds of financial products. They're not just Scotia or Bank of Nova Scotia or Scotia McLeod products. I have a myriad of financial products, and they're all the best financial products. Consider the fact that I have a financial product warehouse. I have stocks. I have investment funds. I have segregated mutual funds. I have life insurance. Almost any kind of financial product that you can imagine, I offer. My job is to sort through all those financial products that are out there and to make sure that inside the financial plan that I provide you with, you have the best products. And I, as your financial advisor, it's my job to be your financial sidekick and guide you and help you make that financial plan work for you and to keep it up to date. That's what I do. And I've been doing that for a good many years. I've seen bad years and good years and all kinds of years in between. I'm going to start off by giving you a simple way to evaluate things. Is it positive, negative, or neutral? So, for example, if you think this radio show is the best radio show that you've ever listened to, you would rate it positive. If you think it's terrible, you would rate it negative. If you're not sure, you would rate it neutral. Only 3 choices: positive, negative, or neutral. And that's a good way to evaluate anything. So I want you to take a look at your investment statement and look at the investments that you currently hold. Look at the first one and rate it positive, negative, or neutral. Look at the second one and rate it positive, negative, or neutral. Maybe you have 10 mutual funds inside that portfolio. Look at them and rate them positive, negative, or neutral. All you got to do is put a plus sign after it, a minus sign, or a 0 with a line through it. Okay? And I will guarantee that in most cases, it'll be neutral or negative. That's what you need to do. And if you get too many negatives or neutrals, maybe it's time to get a second opinion on that investment portfolio, and that's what I offer. I got a caller on the line, Lillian from Vancouver. Lillian, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Hi, Lillian. Thanks for calling.
Well, first of all, I'll rate your show positive.
Oh, thank you.
Again, I wish I would have heard about you. I lived in Vancouver 20 years ago. Anyways, I am, I guess 67 now, so I should be retired, but I'm one of those ones, even though sort of having, I guess, sort of a portfolio. I sort of left it in the hands of an accountant when I was in Winnipeg and teaching, and just let him do the thing, and found out later that it wasn't working. So, but, to go back a couple of steps with school, like I said, I'm supposed to be retired. I'm still substitute teaching because I can't. Things happen in life. And I remember my mother always saying, keep 10% of what you pay. This is in my 20s. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Didn't really listen too much, but first child, I put money away for an educational savings plan. I had a separate account for myself. And over the years, through divorce and losing whatever, and then health issues with my daughter, it was like everything is disappearing very, very quickly. So I went from a very comfortable lifestyle to, well, I guess almost poverty lifestyle. Luckily, my education kept me off of the streets and in a home, but I had to become more than frugal. I had to become so creative because 5 years ago we had to move for her health. It was not funded by the government. It was out of my pocket, so guess what I was dipping into?
Principal.
All the little bits and pieces that I had out there. And finally, I moved back 5 years ago now. The last of whatever I had put away went. So I think maybe I have a few $1,000s. That's it at 67. And I remember listening, I don't know if it was your show or somewhere else, this person had called in. It was a young person. And, it was a lady talking about being 65 and she didn't know what she was going to do now, blah, blah, blah. And this girl pops up and said, well, that woman should have just put her money away and should have saved for her old age and not have to be dependent on someone now. And I thought, oh, my goodness, because I did all those steps. I had money put away, blah, blah, blah. I had my education, and it fell through the bottom because you don't know what's going to happen, whether it's divorce, whether it's medical. So now I'm back down to being 20 years old, except I'm not 20 anymore.
You run out of time or your time is now limited?
Oh, time is limited.
I define 13 reasons why people fail financially, and I have a brochure on that. So if anybody listening to this show wants that brochure, just call Frida. 13 reasons why we fail financially. One of the 13 reasons is not preparing for the unexpected. That's exactly what happened to you.
Well, I had money put aside. It didn't do me any good because I had to use it all.
That's because that was an unexpected event.
Right.
Like, what are some of the unexpected things that can happen that can destroy your financial plan?
Well, divorce, one of them.
That's it, and the 50-50 chance of that happening. So what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do to protect yourself against divorce? Becomes part of your financial plan. What are the things that you can do to mitigate and to manage the unexpected? That's what we're talking about. Like death is unexpected. Disability is unexpected. Critical illness is unexpected. Losing your job can be unexpected.
Yes,
an audit by Revenue Canada can be unexpected, which can destroy your financial plan.
Mhm.
Traveling outside of Canada without proper travel insurance can be unexpected. These are risks. So
Yes,
you sit
definitely.
back, and you ask yourself two words: what if? What are all the what ifs that can destroy you financially? And you try. You're not always going to be good at it necessarily or 100% accurate, but you have to try.
Mhm.
A financial plan isn't guaranteed to succeed, but is guaranteed to give you a better chance of success than not doing one.
Well, that's definitely true. Like, I mean, if I did not have that money put aside, what would I have done, really? Seriously.
Yeah.
Money isn't going to come from heaven for medical issues, thousands of dollars. Nobody's going to pay for my move. But I've gone to living back with cash.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that that's the best way. I will use, like if I have to go to the dentist or something for big money, I will use the Visa and then pay it off right away. But even my daughter, like she's 25 now, and I said, you know, you've got to go in, get a portfolio, go speak to Fred. And it's like she hums and she haws, and it's like, God, can't you see what's happened to me? With planning even, and
Well, you
with
know
an
something,
education.
Lillian,
Wake up.
why do they do that? Why do people avoid doing what consciously and realistically is the most important thing that they can do? The
Well, yeah,
most
common
important thing
sense.
that
I
you
mean,
can
she's right.
do in life is manage your money, because if you don't manage your money, you're going to be broke
Yes,
someday. And you
exactly.
won't have a salary anymore. Imagine being 80 and broke with no salary,
Mhm.
no job, no pension.
Yeah,
The best you can do is qualify for the guaranteed income supplement.
which is not a whole hell of a lot. No,
No. So
no.
basically you have an income. If you have a spouse and you're both the same age and you're in the same position, you can get about $3,000 maximum Social Security, and you're likely not going to qualify for anything else. So you got $3,000 a month to live on. You won't pay any tax because that won't be taxable. It's split between two people. You
Mhm.
you you have to sit down, and you got to crunch the numbers. You got to look at the numbers and say, this is me. This is where I stand, and this is
Yes.
what I'm going to do about it. And you got to get proactive about it, not reactive. You
Well,
can't
that's
wait
the
till
whole
bad
thing is
stuff
the
happens.
proactive.
Yeah, you can't wait till something bad happens. You got to deal with it ahead of time. You got to anticipate it and deal with it.
And it's not even, I think it's even one step further than being proactive, because, like I said, even me putting money away, whatever it was for, it wasn't enough. So I think I don't know, maybe it would help if I would have had a proper financial planner looking after things for me instead of somebody in Winnipeg and I'm living here and just leaving it in his hands as far as investing, and not giving me any other information. But I think that's so important to plan and then over-plan.
I heard a lawyer not very long ago say that people who have no children don't need life insurance. Then went on to say people who are 65 don't need life insurance. And I mean, I never heard anything so terrible in my life. This is supposedly a lawyer. Everybody looks up to lawyers and think they know everything.
Yes.
Okay? All right? I heard this with my own two ears. Now, I don't think this particular lawyer ever heard of what they call pension maximization, never heard of insured annuities, never heard of a deemed disposition and the taxes that arise from a deemed disposition. Do you know that on the day that you die, the government deems that you sold everything you own at fair market value? They deduct from that the adjusted cost base of your assets, and the spread, the difference, is called a taxable capital. No, it's called a capital gain. Half of that's taxable. They're not even aware that that happens. They didn't sell anything. They're just deemed to have sold it.
Wow.
And CRA is on the door, and your executor, they're going to say, well, we need a check for $1 million. Where
Oh, nice.
does that money come from?
Yes,
It
exactly.
could come from a life insurance policy where the proceeds of the life insurance policy are tax-free. And that's got nothing to do with having children or not having children. It's called protecting your estate. I had a lady in my office last week who's got $500,000 in RSPs
Oh, nice.
and no spouse. So I said, you know what happens when you die? She said, no. I said, well, the government deems you sold your RSP and you're going to have to pay $250,000 in tax just on
Good
your
Lord.
RSPs.
Oh,
Where will the money come from?
jeez.
So I set her up with a life insurance policy to cover that shortfall. And fortunately, she was insurable. Now, if you're 20 years old, you may not need life insurance when you're 20 years old, except to protect your future insurability, because you're going to need it down the road. If a 20-year-old can say, I'm never going to have a family, I guarantee that, no family, I got no kids to protect, I got no relatives, maybe, but you can't, you don't know what your needs are going to be 20 years from now, and you may need insurance then, and you won't be able to buy it. So to guarantee your future insurability, even if you're 20, you need it.
Years ago, and then I guess this guy who was doing the accounting said, well, you really don't need it. So I just disregarded that. I don't know, maybe I should make an appointment. I don't know what I can do at my age. Like I said, I'm still having to work part-time in order to, cover expenses.
Well, Lillian, it is never too late. Maybe there's a lot of water gone under the bridge, but there's still a lot yet to go under.
Oh yes. I mean,
and that's what you have to protect. You can't fix the past.
By any
you can't
means.
fix the past, but maybe you can fix the future.
Yes. Well, I'll have to call, I guess, the office then.
If you give Frida a call, you can reach Frida right now at area code 604-737-3512.
Okay, 3512.
I'm going to repeat it once again for everybody else. It's 604-737-3512. If everybody else listening out there, if you listen to the first hour, which was a replay, and that caused some questions, you can call me right now and we can talk live on the air about whatever your question is. So get on the line and give me a call. And if you're out of town or it's long distance, it's 1-800-661-1495. Lillian, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your call and your comments. And thanks for the positive vote.
Yes, definitely positive.
That was very nice.
Have a great day.
You too. Take care now.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Okay, Lillian's line is now open. So if you're out there, you're listening to the show, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also a registered financial planner. We're talking about your money, more importantly about your money and how to keep it. How to keep it are the key words. Keep it, not spend it. Part of everything you earn should be yours to keep. And it's your responsibility to make sure that happens. And if you don't pay yourself first, if you don't make sure that you have some money left over at the end of every pay period, if you don't make sure you have some money left over, you're not going to get there. So let's say that you spend less than you earn. If your take-home pay is $4,000 and you spend $3,500 per month, you got $500 left over at the end of every month. That means your bank account should be growing by $500 a month. So ask yourself this question: how much money do I have in the bank? Is the figure increasing or decreasing? If that number is decreasing, you probably have a deficit, which means you're spending more than you earn. If you spend more than you earn, and you're carrying balances on your credit cards, that's a good indication, and you're paying 18% interest on that, that's a bad sign. That's not a good situation. So you're running a deficit, just like the government's. Government debt right now is way out of line. They're now talking politics. With the election coming up in the States, they're starting to talk more again about the deficit. They're talking about a $20 trillion deficit, which is now $17 trillion. I think it's about 17 and a half. It's out of control. It represents about $30,000 or $40,000 for every man, woman, and child in the United States. And guess what? It's almost exactly the same in Canada. So if you're out there, you're listening to the show, we want your comments. We want to have conversations with you about your money. And more importantly, about your money and how to keep it. How to keep it, how to keep it. Keep. That's what we're talking about. Okay? And if you don't get really serious about keeping money, guess what? You won't. You'll spend everything you earn and then some. So I want you to ask yourself this question. You're listening to the show right now. Is my cash flow, is my budget, hopefully you have one, is my budget positive, negative, or neutral? If it's negative or neutral, maybe you need to make a phone call. Maybe it's time to talk about that. Maybe it's time to get yourself a financial plan. Lillian that I talked to earlier, maybe she had a financial plan, but I think she probably put it on the shelf and it gathered dust and she didn't update it. She wasn't managing the plan, if she had one. I'm not so sure she even had one. So she had some financial products that apparently her lawyer advised her to invest in. That's good. Is it? Again, I want you to ask yourself this question. Are all the investments that I have in my investment portfolio the best investment in its category? Is my portfolio properly diversified? Do I have the right amount of money invested in fixed income securities, in cash, and in equities? Do I have too much money invested in Canada and not enough internationally, or the other way around? Is my portfolio too risky for me? Does it match my tolerance for risk? Am I getting my old age pension clawed back from a tax point of view? Am I getting everything that's due to me in terms of Social Security? Am my income splitting with my family to mitigate taxes? Am I paying too much for the wrong kind of life insurance? Am I paying more taxes than I legally need to? These are questions you need to address. And I want you to think about what I just said and apply that criteria again if I'm not sure how to rate those questions, positive, negative, or neutral. Get yourself my pamphlet, The 13 Major Reasons Why We Fail Financially. We've talked about them many times on this show. I'm not going to go through them again today. It's boring. But one of the most important ones is paying too much for the wrong kind of life insurance. That's one of them. Another one is not preparing for the unexpected. What are some of the unexpected things that can destroy you financially? What happens if you're driving, I don't know, let's say you decide to go down to Cabela's to buy some sporting equipment in the States. You get in an accident on the way down there. Like, I don't know how serious it was, but it looked pretty serious. There was an accident just half a mile from the station here when I was coming here today. That's why I was late getting in here. I was kind of on time, but I didn't really have time to get set up. And there was an ambulance there. And a lot of people, the car at the side was really banged up. So somebody, I think, was hurt, maybe even killed. I don't know. But let's suppose that happened in the States. And you're just over there on a trip, and you end up in a hospital in Bellingham for a month. I wonder what the bill would be. That would be an unexpected thing. You didn't expect that. Or what happens? You're just having a drive Sunday afternoon. You decide to drive through the state. You have a heart attack. You end up in a hotel or a hospital over there, not a hotel. That's pretty scary. What are you doing about that kind of stuff? Are you covered? Okay. What happens if you take a cruise and you're on a cruise ship and you get sick? I mean, there's a myriad of things that can happen that can destroy you financially. And that's got to be part of a financial plan. So if you have a financial plan, and there's 10 sections to the financial plan, one of the sections is called risk. How do I deal with risk? So you develop that particular part of your plan. And let's say you need information. You're listening to this show right now. You need information. You want to do a budget on yourself. Where would you get the information? Have you ever heard about Google? You can find almost anything you want on Google. Go to the Manulife webpage and explore it. Browse through there and look at the calculators that are on there. There's a calculator that will actually do a budget for you. Just fill in the boxes. You get to the end, you click report. It'll print a report for you. Okay? Retirement planning. You want a retirement plan? You want to find all the numbers for your retirement plan? Go into Manulife again, click on retirement plan. Fill in the boxes. Click. There's the numbers. It'll tell you that you'll have the amount of income that you need, and it will work. Or it will tell you there's a shortfall of $800 a month. That's what you have to put away between now and the day you retire to make up for the shortfall. If you're already retired, it's too late. You're going to have to modify your income objective. These are all things that need to be explored. And again, how do you update? You do a financial plan. How frequently should you update that financial plan? Who prepares the financial plan? Should it be a financial advisor? Should it be a lawyer? Should it be an accountant? What software do they use to generate the plan? And do you understand it? Most important part, I had a lady in my office last week. She had 2 financial plans that she showed me. She didn't understand either of them. The guy that prepared one, or the two people prepared them, thought that she understood. She didn't even understand the plans. So she didn't implement them either. So she came to me for a third opinion. So we're in the process of generating a financial plan for her. So this and much, much more is what we talk about when we talk about financial planning. So a financial plan starts with education. Where will I get my financial education? What books should I read? What are the best books to read when it comes to a financial plan? Here's some books. I don't know how many people are logged on and you can see that screen, but there's some good books to read that everybody should read. The Richest Man in Babylon. Simple book. I can tell you in one sentence the message. The message is simply this, that part of everything you earn is yours to keep. Don't spend it all. You've heard me say that 10,000 times. Whatever you're keeping, you entrust it to experts, which is like mutual funds and investment managers, that kind of stuff. Entrust it to experts. And third, leave it to compound. That's the message that's in that book. So now you don't have to read the book, right? I think it's a good idea to read the book, get the background behind those statements. That's a good idea. Second book on there is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That should be your Bible. Think and Grow Rich was a book that was written basically to capsulize all the successful secrets of every successful person in the United States in the 30s. The basic message there is that anything you can vividly imagine, ardently desire, and enthusiastically act upon will inevitably come to pass. It says set goals. So what are your financial goals, your hopes, your plans, your dreams, and your ambitions? What are they? And let's get more specific. Let's make those hopes, plans, dreams, and ambitions more specific. I want a $5,000 waterfront house on the ocean with a beautiful swimming pool and a 40-foot yacht tied up at my dock. That's what I'd like to have. I don't, because I can't afford it yet. Or don't want to afford it yet. But the bottom line is, it's specific goals. Your hopes, your plans, and your dreams and ambitions will inevitably come to pass if you can establish clear-cut goals and act upon them. The greatest salesman in the world, 10 messages, 10 scrolls. I won't go through the whole 10, but the first scroll says, today I begin a new life. So let's start with number 1. Today I begin a new life. Instead of spending more than I earn, instead of traveling through life without a financial plan, today I'm going to get one. I'm going to be born again today, and I'm going to start with a written financial plan, and I'm going to make a call to Fred Snyder's office and speak to Frida at area code 604-737-3512. 604-737-3512. If you're calling long distance, it's 800-661-1495. Okay, now I can't take the time to go through all those books. That'd take a whole radio show. But I'm just kind of highlighting them. How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. Fabulous book. Basically says that the best way to stop worrying and start living is to accept the worst thing that can happen and then try to improve on it. Accept it. Okay, I got this thing I'm worrying about. Okay, maybe that'll happen. How can I fix it? And then start working on that. Okay? It tells you how to deal with worry and how to win friends and influence people by Dale Carnegie as well. Basically says you never criticize, condemn, or complain. That way you'll have lots of friends. Because if you're constantly criticizing, condemning, and complaining, everybody's going to run away from you. So one book basically says don't criticize, and the second book says this is how you deal with it if it happens. Do I deserve the criticism? No, I don't think so. So it's probably a compliment in disguise. If you deserve it, learn from it. That's the gist of it. These are great books. You want copies of all these books? Give us a call. I'm not going to give you copies of the books, but I'll give you the titles, and I'll tell you how to get them. One easy way to get them, they're all on my iPhone. Every one of those books. So you can get an electronic version of it and download it through the air, excuse me, and put it on your iPhone. So again, we're talking about your money, more importantly about your money and how to keep it. And we're putting a little bit of philosophy into the show. We have to go to the break, and when we come back, we'll take your calls. Don't go away.
Fred Snyder.
I want people to call the show that are genuinely interested in increasing their financial IQ so that they can become financially independent sooner and stay financially independent longer.
Fred Snyder.
You don't have a blueprint. Imagine trying to build a house without a blueprint. And how about having a blueprint for your life? What are your lifestyle goals? You need to think about your family life. What are your goals about your family life? What are your lifestyle goals when it comes to health? What are your lifestyle goals when it comes to finances, mental and spiritual? You have to set goals in all those areas, not just finances.
Fred Snyder.
Often we fail because we put too much emphasis on one area and ignore everything else. We work our butts off and we ruin our health. So life is all about balance. So you need a life plan.
Fred Snyder.
Napoleon Hill says this, wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. Anything that you can vividly imagine, ardently desire, and enthusiastically act upon will inevitably come to pass.
Fred Snyder.
My goal, my mission is to help people enhance their financial IQs by teaching them what they need to know to make better financial decisions.
Fred Snyder. Sunday mornings at 9 on CIL 650. This is CISL Vancouver. Smooth and easy. CIL 650.
CIL 650.
This is It's Your Money on CIL 650. Here once again is Fred Snyder.
Okay, we're back. Remind you once again, we're live, interactive. This is a webcast, so you can log on. You can see what we look like. Again, we'd like to have conversations with you, our listeners, about your money and how to keep it. And keep it is what we're really talking about. So to keep it, you got to be proactive. You got to have a financial plan. You got to have a financial planner. And you need the best products inside your plan. So how do you do all three? Well, one way to get that going is to make a phone call. The longest journey begins with the first step, so take that step and make a phone call. 604-280-0650. The long distance, 877-280-0650. Log on, www.cil650.com. And for those who are shy or reluctant to talk on the air, Frida's down at the office at area code 604-737-3512. If you're calling long distance, it's 1-800-661-1495. If you didn't have time to write all those numbers down as I was going through them like I did, Frida down at the office, 604-737-3512. You want something tweak your thoughts when you listen to that first hour today and you want a follow-up question, you want a live answer, you can call us back on that one at 604-280-0650. Long distance, 877-280-0650. If you just joined us, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner representing Scotia McLeod. My mission, my purpose is to teach people what they need to know to make better financial decisions, because I don't think this really happened before in their lifetimes. So where could you learn more about financial planning? Well, you can take the Canadian Securities course if you wanted. You could take the mutual fund course if you want. You read any of those books that we were talking about earlier. You can listen to this show. You can attend workshops and seminars. There's all kinds of ways that you can gain financial knowledge. But I once had a fellow tell me that he thought that the best way to get financial knowledge is the internet. And guess what? I think he's right. With Google and the internet, you can find out almost anything you want to know. You want to find out how much money you can take from your RRSP or must take from your RRSP when you turn 71, you can go on the internet and you can calculate that. If you want to find out how to calculate the impact of the clawback on your income, there's a calculator put out by Manulife that's on the web that will show you exactly how to do that. You just fill in the boxes, and it will tell you how much of your old age pension you're going to lose because of clawback, because you had to set up a RIF and started to have to take money out of your RRSP. So again, we're talking about your money and how to keep it, and the internet is one good way to get the knowledge that you need. So once again, 604-280-0650, long distance 877-280-0650, www.sil.650.com, and free to down at the office, area code 604-737-3512, the long distance 1-800-661-1495. So again, the internet and Google, valuable tools. I understand now you can get a Google or an iPhone, or which is a wristwatch actually. So there you go. So you got another device. You got an iPad and an iPhone. You got your computer. I have my computer here in front of me right now, and I have a wealth of information, and I have pathways to all kinds, tons and tons and tons and tons of information out there. So again, I clicked on this, only 22,463 days left until retirement. So should you be a newborn baby and you're listening or watching this show, you're probably not, but let's say you are, you got 22,463 days on average until retirement. But you don't have that many because you're 5 years from retirement. So how much do you have to put away systematically to achieve your retirement income objectives? How much? Maybe nothing. Maybe $1,000 a month. Maybe $100 a month. You need to know what those numbers are. Okay? And it depends, again, on your age. What's the starting point? And I don't care if you're 1 year from retirement or 20 years from retirement. You got to know the numbers. A financial plan, ladies and gentlemen and listeners out there, that's what a financial plan does. It helps you with the numbers. Let's talk to Peter from Ladner. Peter, welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you, Fred.
Hi, Peter.
I just want to compliment you on your persona of knowledge and all the good stuff you forward to us people, because I just think it's absolutely beautiful. I love everything you say, and I think you are so right. All I can say is I wish I could have met you 70 years ago, because I'm in my 70s now, and I'm a little bit late. I have a financial planner. I believe in the blueprint, as you mentioned. I think it's the best thing that anyone should do, and I'm with you 110%. I sure hope to meet you one day. I have a son that needs help, and I think maybe someone like you could help him.
Well, call Frida and give Frida his number, and she'll give him a call.
Oh, yeah, we'll get together for sure, Fred. I'm looking forward to it one day. I will definitely call Frida ahead, and I'll set an appointment up.
Peter, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your call, and thanks for calling, and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, I really enjoy the words you use, and I think you are just superb, and I really mean it. It's funny how I met you on the radio one morning after I fed ducks and my chickadees and everything, and I was coming home and I listened to you on the radio, and I thought, gee, I got to meet this guy. How do I write his phone number now? Because I'm driving at the same time. So when I got home, I heard you announce it, but you say it too fast when old people can't pick up the number that quick.
Well, I'll tell you how to remember the phone number. The radio station is 650 AM.
Yes, I know. I listen
to it. So it's 280-0650.
That's perfect.
So you
Fred,
got three of the digits already memorized.
Listen, thank you so much, and I loved listening to you and Lillian talk on the radio there earlier.
Do you have a question of any kind while you're on the line?
Not right now. I would discuss it with you when I get to see you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Very much. Thank you so much, Fred.
And Peter, thanks for your call.
Good work. Don't leave us. We need your help.
I'll stick around for a while yet. You take care.
Much.
Okay, bye for now.
Take care.
Okay, Peter's line is now open, and we got Alan from Vancouver. Alan, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you, Fred. Good morning to you. I want to thank you and the advice you gave about a month ago regarding insurance clauses in property insurance. Now, I'm actually thanking you on behalf of my sister in Victoria because I passed that information, the importance of looking at the fine print. Those are the very words you mentioned, and she did reluctantly, but she's so pleased after she did because she found a rider in there on that there's a deductible that wasn't there before of $45,000 on her earthquake insurance. Now her insurance went up, but she wasn't displeased. It was only a reasonable amount, but it wasn't very reasonable when they interjected in a new insurance policy.
And they don't tell you about it.
$45,000.
No, that's the surprise. That's the not preparing for the unexpected issue again. Okay, and that's what happens. I see this time and time again. People find themselves in a position where they all of a sudden have this large unexpected expense, and they don't have the money to cover it. They got to borrow it.
Right.
They got to put it on their credit line or something.
Yeah, that's why she was so shocked. She said, where am I? Before, I mean, she's an older person. She's been with that insurance company for about 30 years, so she trusted them. But her husband passed away, and now she's going to take that responsibility. But she says, where am I going to get $45,000?
Well, true enough.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
So I thought I'd give you that compliment on the good advice you gave.
Well, Alan, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I think I recognize your voice. So, again, Alan, I appreciate the call. Very, very focused information. So really, when you have an insurance policy, you should read the small print because things can change. So they come forth and they give you a renewal and they slip something in there. Okay, appreciate your call. You take care. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Take care. I don't know. That seems to be a bad line right now. It's in and out. Okay, so Alan, if you're still listening, I appreciate your call very much. So only 22,463 days left until retirement. If you're a newborn baby, how much time do you have left before you retire? And how much money will you need the day you retire? And how much income will that generate? You need to think about all these things. And again, living a good financial life is all about having proper cash flow. That's a budget. How much do I make? And how much do I need to spend of what I make? And you gotta relate the two. So for example, what's your budget look like today? Let's say you're 50. You want to retire at age 60. What's your expenses look like today? How much do you spend for the roof over your head? Is it a rent or a mortgage payment or what? How much does it cost you to live in that house or that apartment, wherever you live right now? What's that cost? What's it cost me for groceries? How much do I spend on transportation? Maybe I have 2 cars. Maybe I should only have 1. But what's it cost me to drive that car? How much do I give to charity? How much do I spend on presents? How much do I spend on going to the doctor? It's not always covered by insurance. The dentist, the optometrist. So you list all your expenses, and where can I find a benchmark that I can compare my total expenses to see if I'm spending too much or not enough? Go to Stats Canada. You can find it there. So sit down and make yourself a budget. Go on the internet and find a proper. Manulife has a terrific one. I looked at it this morning. Just fill in the squares. Find out how much it costs you per month to live. And let's suppose the total comes out to $4,000. Where do you get the $4,000? Where does it come from? Do you take that out of your investment portfolio? The investment portfolio is only earning $2,500. You're taking $4,000 out, so you're spending your capital at $1,500 a month. How long will it take me to go broke if I keep doing that? How can I stop doing that? what's a better way to re-engineer my finances so that instead of having a deficit, I have a surplus? And if I have a surplus, what do I do with the surplus? Think about that. So how much do I make? How much do I spend today? How much should I be spending? And how much should I be making? Is there some way I can decrease my expenses and increase my income? Maybe. And what will that look like the day that I retire? Because that might be a different set of numbers because it's 10 years from now. So you need 3 budgets. One that exists today, how it should be reorganized, and what will it look like the day I retire. 3 sets of numbers. But the most important part of that whole equation is, when you're retired, how much money do I need to be working for me to generate the income that I need that I will be able to pay my expenses with? And how long will that money last? Ladies and gentlemen and listeners, that's what financial planning is all about. It's about the numbers. So again, what are the what-ifs that can mess me up? What happens if you come home one day and your spouse is gone? Just walked out. Okay? You just lost half of everything. Because in marital breakdown, that's what happens. So what happens if you're 70 years of age and you go through a marital breakdown? You lose half your assets. Have you prepared for that? I had a client one time, at age 82, his wife walked out. That's pretty devastating. It's not so bad when you're 40, but not when you're 82. So you got to think about all these things. And let's say that you own a business. You've been a hard-working man or woman. You built this fabulous business. You got 50 employees. Your business is worth $10 million. What's your succession plan? How do you get out of the business? The day that you no longer want to work, you want to transfer that business to your children. That's called a succession plan. Do you have one of those? Have you figured all that out? And what about the tax man? How can you efficiently transfer your business to your children without the tax implications involved in it? How do you do that? And I know there's lots of people listening to this show right now that are in that very boat. So estate planning and succession planning is a very important part of what I do. Do you have a proper will? Is it up to date? When's the last time you reviewed it? Do you have an enduring power of attorney? Do you have a representation agreement? These are all part of your financial plan, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're lacking in any of these areas, you are vulnerable. You will not manage your estate properly. And you can't do it actively after you've passed away. But if you have a proper plan, the estate will be managed the way you want it after you die. So what is your succession plan? And when you need advice, who do you turn to? Your next door neighbor? Your lawyer? Your bank manager? Who do you talk to? Do you have a financial professional that you trust and is knowledgeable that you can sit down and discuss things with? Because things change. If I do a financial plan for you, it's a draft. It's not a final document. Even the finalized financial plan, whenever it's put forth, will evolve. It will change. It will need to be modified at least once a year. So are you doing that? And if you're not, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to make a phone call? You're going to call Frida? You can reach Frida right now down at the office at area code 604-737-3512. Long distance, if you're calling long distance, it's 1-800-661-1495. Once again, slowly this time, 604. You won't forget that. That's easy. 737-3512. 737-3512. That's Frida's number. And again, if you want to have a chat with myself, it's area code 604-280-0650. If you're calling long distance, it's 877-280-0650. The only difference is either 877 or 604. Numbers are the same. You just tuned in. Once again, we got about 6 minutes before we have to go. I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner representing Scotia McLeod. And I differentiate myself from other people that do what I do because I offer workshops and seminars. I'm doing a workshop out at Shannon Oaks on Monday afternoon. So I'll be out there, and if you have a company or an organization you want me to come and do a workshop for you, I'll be happy to do so. Talk to your 50 employees, your 100 employees, whatever, 10 employees, if that's all you have, doesn't matter. Be happy to come and do a workshop. Because again, I believe that the secret of financial success is financial education. If you had more education, you wouldn't procrastinate. If you had more education, you wouldn't overpay your income tax. If you had more education, you would not pay too much for the wrong kind of life insurance. If you had more education, you'd make sure you had the best investments inside your investment portfolio. The list is endless. So if you had more education, I think that's the fundamental reason we all fail financially. And I dump that one on the schools. I think they do a very poor job in that area. It's not all about reading, writing, and arithmetic. It should be all about reading, writing, arithmetic, and financial planning. That's what we're talking about. So if you're a teacher, you have a class, you want me to come and speak to your class about financial planning, want me to speak to your school board, whatever it might be happy to do that. And if you're a listener and you have any influence in these areas, maybe you should make a call to your schools or whatever, say, why don't you get this guy Schneider to come and do a workshop or a seminar? That would be a good idea, I think. Let's talk to Mitchell from Vancouver. Mitchell, welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you today?
Pretty good, Mitchell. I'm trying to get through here with a raspy voice.
That's okay. Listen, I was able to get one of my bills knocked off there a little while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got $60 extra a month now, and I was just wondering what should I do with it?
Well, there's a multitude of things that you can do with it. Have you got an hour? I don't. But I'll tell you this: if you had, let's say you got $60 a month. I don't know. Let's say you borrowed $100,000 and invested it. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but if you borrowed $100,000 and invested, the interest that you would pay on that $100,000 would be about $3,500 a year, which is $300 a month. It would be tax deductible, so that comes to about $150 a month. So you could do half that, and that would match what you got. So if you borrowed $50,000, you could use that money to pay the interest on an investment loan, and that might not be suitable for you. It might be for some people, maybe not you. I don't know. If you got $60 a month, there's certain investment funds out there that you could put $60 a month into. Find yourself a really great investment fund and invest monthly into it. And that you'd be dollar cost averaging is what they call that.
Okay.
But what you should do is give Frida a call, Mitchell, and come on in and see me, and we can have a nice long conversation about what you can do with that extra money.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can't tell you how much I appreciate your call. Thanks for calling.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye-bye. So Mitchell's line is now open. So again, if you just probably have time for another call or two before we have to go. So if you're out there, you're listening to the show, remind you once again, we're talking about your money, more importantly about your money and how to keep it. And again, the picture on my screen shows a newborn baby, 22,463 days left until retirement. How many days do you have left until retirement? Or if you're already retired, how long are you going to be retired? And how are you going to finance yourself during that period of time? So we're talking about how you finance your lifetime. The average Canadian lifeline is probably 22,463 days. So you're going to divide some of that 22,463 days into education. You're going to divide it into working years, and then you're going to divide it into retirement years. So are your retirement years destined to be positive, negative, or neutral? Are your working years destined to be positive, negative, or neutral? If you're spending more than you earn during your working years, then the assessment of that is negative because you have a deficit. you must not have a deficit. So take your investment portfolio, the last statement you have, put it on the table in front of you, put your finger on any one of those investments that you have in it, and say, I would rate this positive, negative, or neutral. Maybe add a last one and call it question mark. So you can now have 4 categories. So if you have a question mark, maybe you should be talking to somebody like me and saying, what's the score on this investment? Is this an investment that I should have or not? Should I replace this investment with something else? Maybe. How do I make that determination? Really, you need a proper financial plan. You need an interview with a proper financial planner like myself, and you need a written financial plan. That's what I'm offering, all 3. All you got to do is make a phone call. So call Frida. Once again, area code 604-737-3512, and she'll be down there for the rest of the day. Give her a call. Make an appointment. Come in and see me. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate your participation in the show. See you at the same time, same station next week. Bye for now.
If you'd like Fred to review your portfolio, call his office right now at 604-737-3512. That's 604-737-3512.